Welcome back! Welcome to Fourth and a Longshot. I am Logan, and here sitting next to me is...
What's up? I'm Robey.
And today, let's start it off with a bang. Let's get some fireworks going. Let's stir the pot a little bit.
Oh boy, already?
Yep, I want you to lead off.
Right off the bat. Alright, so it was always said in history that the Cowboys won the West. But I just want to know how they're going to win the West when they can't even win the NFC East. Get it together, Dallas. Come on. I mean... you got blown out by Washington this time. I could see when you got blown out by Arizona. I know you're on a backup quarterback, but now you get blown out by a team that has no name. What is your excuse for yourself? Oh, Andy Dalton got hurt in the third quarter? Okay, sorry that he got hurt. I hope he feels better, but you just have no defense at all. Mike McCarthy, you got to go. You got to get the hell out of Dallas. You guys are no longer America's team. I don't care what anybody says. You want to find America's team? I don't care if it's the Patriots, but it damn sure ain't Dallas. That's how I feel about that.
What they score, 3 points against a team with no name? That's horrendous. I think that it was 25-3.
Yeah, then let's look at their quarterback. Kyle Allen. They let Kyle Allen walk all over them. Do I even have to elaborate on that? I mean...
Welcome to your new home, Dallas. You are at the bottom of the division with the Giants. And now, luckily, you had the Red Rifle in there to win you a game against the Giants that you shouldn't have won.
Yeah.
But that just puts you in third place. And honestly, kind of hoping you're down in fourth, honestly. After that performance... That was just awful.
Yeah, maybe that's a turning point, for Washington, but my God, and all these Cowboys fans, awful quiet lately. I mean...
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of them are drowning in their sorrows right now.
I mean, can you blame them? What else do you do? I mean, it all starts with the coach, and then it goes to the defense, and that defensive coordinator he hired, oh my God. Why? I'll tell you exactly why. Because his defensive coordinator won't bark back at him when he's wrong. And he won't bark back at Jerry Jones. So it's kind of a big game of controlling the next puppet down. So, you know what? Dallas, your season's over.
Dallas, you were done when you fired Coach Parcells. You were done. That was your downfall. Now, you want to talk about another team that's on a downfall? The New England Patriots. What is going on in New England? Belichick, not as good as we thought. Tom Brady leaves. He's on a winning team. But Belichick sitting here just got killed by Denver, out of all teams. And then they got absolutely massacred. It was bloodbath. Yeah. San Francisco 49ers. Just Cam Newton's ended up going out. Now who's their quarterback? Stidham? Stidham's not... He's not even ready. They're just throwing him out there.
Hey, that all goes back to getting rid of Jimmy G. And Belichick didn't want to do that, so...
So, Patriots fans, I hope you brought your lube... Because be prepared for a long season. Because I hate to tell you this. I mean, you arrogant little... You know what I'm going to say. But yeah. You ain't going to the Super Bowl this year, baby. Not going to happen.
Dynasty's not even going to the playoffs. Done.
Dynasty is done.
Number one team in your division, the Buffalo Bills. And don't even get me started on them this week. I don't even want to talk about that. What I do want to talk about is Cleveland Browns. Congratulations, you guys won. Wow, did you guys see all those touchdowns that Baker Mayfield threw? Oh man, he really is the quarterback of the future, isn't he? Oh wait, but he's not. You played the Bengals. The Bengals are nothing. Come on. The Bengals have no defense. They barely have an offense. All they've got's Joe Burrow. And you still almost lost the damn game. Come on. Out here gloating about, oh, look at us. We've only lost 2 games. Yeah, I'm sure that's great for a team that's not won that many games in the last 6 seasons combined or some shit.
Yeah, I mean... They keep gloating the stats around, started 0 for 5 and then went 22 or 23. But you got to look at the defense they played. Until they do that against a team like, say, the Ravens, for example, I'm not going to blink an eye at them.
No.
Now, team I've really lost faith in right now, and you just said their name, the Buffalo Bills. You are 5-2. How in the world do you play the Jets and don't score a touchdown against the Jets? You know who did score a touchdown? Ripken. Right? Is that his name? I think.
Yeah.
For the Denver Broncos, he won against the Jets, and they put up 30-something points. And the Bills can't even come into a division game and put up a touchdown against the Jets. They won 18-10, but it's like
6 field goals.
6 field goals. Okay.
The last time I saw that was Chris Boswell. And the only reason Chris Boswell had to kick that many field goals was because Pittsburgh didn't have a quarterback. We had some dude named Duck quacking around all over the place.
Bills, you got a team that can't put it in the end zone once they get in the red zone. Against a good team, in the playoffs, they're not going to go anywhere. If they can't do that against the Jets, what makes you think they can do it against a good team? I rest my case.
I just want to prove a point, though. I mean, okay, they beat the Jets twice. So, fine, whatever. The first game, they won by 10 points. Whatever. But, they haven't played anybody. Miami's still figuring things out. They played the Rams, and that was a close game. And they played the Raiders, so I'll give them credit.
Look
there.
at the two teams they
lost
played.
to the 2 teams they lost to were the biggest matchups they've had so far. You had the Titans, and you had the Chiefs, and they lost. I don't even think they can beat the Patriots next week.
Honestly, both teams I just touched over, and I think the Patriots absolutely stink. But with Bill Belichick, I mean, I think anything's possible, even though I think that franchise is dead.
I don't think it's dead, but it's going to be a little while.
Bills Mafia, I apologize, but the Dolphins have a chance right now to be first.
Oh,
at this rate.
Oh, no. The Dolphins? After they just benched Fitzpatrick for Tua? We don't even... Actually, that game's not till this weekend, so...
Yeah.
I guess we'll see what Tua's made of, but he's probably going to hurt his hip like the old man he's about to become.
All right. Well, that was Stir the Pot. Let's move on to next. What we got?
You want to move on to some predictions?
Yeah, let's do some predictions.
All right.
Or power rankings.
Power rankings.
Power rankings.
I'm an idiot.
I was going to say, it's a little early for predictions, but I was just rolling with it because we got the slides.
Yeah.
Okay,
the
now.
Slides keep us on track. So this week, who you got?
At number 10, I put the New Orleans Saints.
Okay.
Teams that are outside of this, on my end, are the Bills. The Bills with a terrible performance against the Jets. Wasn't impressed. So they are now outside looking in. And a team that I think I put ahead of them is the Rams. The Rams are ahead of them.
Yeah.
So those are the teams outside looking in. And
I've got them on the outside. I got them just about 11.
Oh, yeah.
The Saints.
And I did the same to the Bears. The Bears are actually probably right behind the Rams.
Yeah, so I've got the Bears coming in at 10. I'm really disappointed in what I saw out of the Bears. I'd still like Nick Foles. That's not changing anytime soon. But then you get his inconsistencies. And I think that's really what cost them the game was on offense yesterday. But still a top 10 team. They've got plenty of time to turn things around in that franchise. They could play better. It's not like they're on a massive losing streak. I think the Bears will be okay, but I think we got to knock them down to 10 for a little bit.
Yeah, you think it was just a one-game thing?
They're bound to have a couple more.
Bound to have a couple blooper games.
Yeah,
so.
it's going to happen.
And teams you left off, you want to say?
The only honorable mention, I think, is going to be the Saints. I think the Saints. I'm not trying to take anything away from them. There's so many good teams right now that I've got put ahead of them. It was close with the Bears. I didn't know which way to go with that. There's some drama going on in New Orleans anyways, so, with the Michael Thomas incident.
Yeah.
We'll see. But right now, they're on the outside looking in. It could have went either way for me, so.
Yeah, I had the Saints. Didn't really need to explain that much. Drew Brees, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty much the factor.
Yeah. He's still playing pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't believe he's still playing, and so is Brady. He set the all-time touchdown record over the weekend, and then Brady played his game and then broke it again. They're like going back and forth. It's hilarious.
Number 9. I went with the San Francisco 49ers. You had the Rams. What made you pick the Rams this week?
The Rams had a pretty convincing win.
Convincing win? Put them right above the Bears there?
Yeah, they had a pretty convincing win. They're kind of looking like they might get on a hot streak right now. I never had much to take away from the Rams. The Rams were still a good team. I think the biggest thing that kept them out last week was the Bills, and The Bills are now out, and they've got to prove some things to me because they're not coming back in my top 10 anytime soon.
Yeah. The Rams lost a week prior to the San Francisco 49ers. That's who I pick at number 9. Reason being, they got some people back. Garoppolo's back, and he's playing great.
Yeah, Jimmy G's always a safe bet.
I mean, I know they're 4-3, but with that team getting healthier and the way they just beat up on the Patriots, I loved. And they beat the Rams last week, so I like the team. I think they are going to be back to contenders again.
I mean, you can never count them out either. Like we talked about earlier, Jimmy G should have just stayed with not the Niners, with the Patriots. But we see how that unfolded. I get it. Robert Kraft liked Brady. But yeah, so the only thing worrying me about San Francisco, they've got a lot of injuries they're dealing with, a lot of season-ending injuries and things of that nature. So, they might bounce back.
Yeah.
And again, it comes down to, I've got some teams in here that I'm really, really liking right now. You get to the end of the top 10, and it's like, who do you put in there? Kind of gets a little shook up. So I guess the Niners would fall under that category of just missed it.
And they're kind of my sleeper team right now.
Your sleeper team?
No one else is picking them to, in the top 10.
Yeah.
They're kind of my sleeper team.
There's a lot of good teams this year.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of, very, very bad teams. There hasn't been a lot of teams that are kind of in the middle, floating around.
Yeah. Number 8, let's see what we have. You picked the Green Bay Packers. I went with the Seattle Seahawks.
I think I'm just as surprised with who you've got so low as you would be with me.
I was not impressed with Seattle. And to be fair, they should have won that game against Arizona, and they didn't, and that's why they dropped them even more.
You want to know why they didn't win that game to Arizona?
Their defense is getting they're Swiss cheese. It's just...
There's some other things that I'm going to talk about later that I'll bring up in a little bit. But Seattle, I don't put them that low in the rankings. They've only lost one game. They still have Russell Wilson. I think they're running into a problem of Russell Wilson can't just do everything. And we talked about that last week. Unless all of a sudden he starts playing linebacker and starts sacking everybody. What do? Their defense allowed a lot of yards. And a lot of points. Yeah, 37 points. That was a well-fought game. I really liked watching that game. That was a perfect game for Sunday Night Football. But yeah, I wouldn't put them that low. But I would put the Packers that low. I think the Packers are a little overrated.
Speaking of Swiss cheese, like I said earlier, of course you put the Wisconsin team over there. Which I understand your point. The defense is a joke over there. Yeah. So,
but you've got Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Jones,
offsetting that.
Devontae Adams. You got a pretty good group there.
Yeah. So it's a solid team. It's we're talking top 8, so it's not like they're not going to make the playoffs.
I got them ranked a little higher than that.
A little higher than that?
A little higher than that.
I don't know. All right, let's see what we got going on at number 7.
Well,
you got the Cardinals in this week.
Yeah, I got the Cardinals in this week.
It.
I put them above, I didn't have them in last week. I put them in this week because this is the game I was waiting on. And they came out, even if they would have lost the game, I probably would have put them on the list because it was a close game. So, I put the Cardinals up. I like what I'm seeing. The defense, in my mind, the only reason they are above Seattle right now is that defense is a little bit better. Yeah. They got guys like Buda Baker, Patrick Peterson.
Buda Baker.
Oh, Buda Baker.
Did you see that one hit he had on the helmet-to-helmet that didn't get called?
No.
Oh, my... He ended up getting pulled out to be evaluated for a concussion, but there was no flag on the play. And he could have been called for targeting. That was a big, massive play. You can't do that. They both tried to go under, and he just slammed right into him with his helmet. But everybody was okay, so that was good. But that dude's a beast outside of that.
All I got from that game was a bunch of memes from DK Metcalf just chasing down Baker and tackling him about the 5.
That was nuts. I was watching that. I'm like, Arizona's going to go all the way. Like, what was that? Like 95 yards or something? Yeah. I'm like, he's gone. Like, he's gone. And then all of a sudden, I see Metcalf coming across my screen. I'm like, dude, you better watch out.
He's on his way. Specimen just made from the lab. Because that's how he runs.
I don't know how he did that. I mean, Jesus criminy.
So, number 7, you put the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I know they're on a bye, but... 7.
That's a hard team because you don't want to move them from your previous ranking because they're on a bye, so you don't have anything to take away from them. But then you have teams coming in playing really well, and you had the Seahawks incident. So I'm not going to drop the Seahawks super low, but there was a lot of good teams that played a lot of good games this week. It can change just as quickly next week. It just depends on what I see.
So you took Seattle in front of Baltimore.
I did.
You think Seattle is...
I think when we're looking at power rankings, we also have to kind of look at the conference that they're in.
Okay.
Because you have to understand there's a lot more competition in the AFC this year than there is in the NFC. Seattle's still a phenomenal team. As we move forward, I think you'll start to see why I've got them above Baltimore. But why I dropped them down to 6, Russell Wilson threw 3 picks.
Yeah.
Off day for him? Maybe.
Cost them the
but
game?
I think that whole game speaks on how well are they going to fare through the playoffs. Yeah. How would they fare in a Super Bowl against a team with a good defense and a good offense? Because they're not a well-balanced team. And Baltimore kind of also falls in that category. You can't depend on 2 or 3 players to win it all. You can't do it. It's a team effort. There's 3 phases. If you don't have all 3 phases, you end up in a predicament like Seattle. Seattle could have won that game. Did Gostkowski miss, 2 kicks that game? Or was it just the one? Well, anyways, regardless, they lost on special teams. You got to have a good kicker out there. He's inconsistent. They probably knew that coming in. Here you are.
No, I just kept the Ravens the same. Not much to talk about. They're on a bye week. Yeah. So, I mean, not a big difference there. I have them at 6. You put them at 7. Yeah, so I'm move on. You
know what? I had a brain fart. Did I say Gostkowski?
I was going to correct you there, but then I was like, I don't know the name of the kicker, so I couldn't.
I don't
You said it, and I was like...
The point was valid, but Gostkowski popped in my head.
That was the Titans kicker.
Sorry about that. That was the Titans
And he did
kicker.
miss a kick. So exactly. I wasn't going to correct you, because if I knew the name of the kicker, I would have.
Yeah.
But
I couldn't remember his name. I don't know why that popped in my head, but there it is.
Number 5.
I've got the Cardinals up pretty high this week. I liked them last week. Nobody else did.
You had them up there
They come in, they beat
week.
Seattle. Now we're really going to get into this because I liked what I saw on not offense. I liked what I saw on their defense. They're not the best defense in the NFL, but that offense was not an easy team to stop. That team was exhausted at the end of that game, and I looked at them, and a defense is gassed when they're out there with their hands on their hips.
Yeah,
they were totally gassed. But they were out there still making plays. They came up with the interception. They're still making that effort. They had a cornerback that was dealing with an injury throughout the game, and they'd put him in and he'd play, and then something would happen. He'd come out for a little bit. And then it got to the end of that game, and they didn't want him to play at all, but he knew he had to be a playmaker. And, he's tired. He's hurt. They put him in on 3rd downs. He comes up with an interception. There you go. Their defense didn't stop. They never gave up, and they just kept playing football. It speaks well on their defense. It speaks well on their offense, their coaching staff. I liked what I saw out of that. You've got a younger team. I like, DeAndre Hopkins and Larry Fitzgerald being opposite each other. You got Kyler Murray. They got in, kind of a rush offense going on. Not a rush offense, but a fast-paced offense going to get down the field to set them up for the field goals that won them the game. I like it. They're number 5 for me. I think that they're really going to surprise everybody through the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really take much away. I do like the Cardinals right now. I do like the Cardinals. I don't like them enough as much as these teams I have, but I do like them. So,
yeah,
respect there. I took the Green Bay Packers. Now, I mean, who'd they play? They played the Texans, which, I mean, to be fair, the Texans had a hard schedule, and they've been playing everyone pretty good. They really have.
Yes, but at the same time, they fall under that category of, who have you really played? You're going to win that game.
They almost beat the Titans.
Now, Devontae Adams.
They almost had the Titans beat last week. So for Green Bay to go in there and win by 14, I believe, 34-20, I mean...
Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
He crushed me this week in fantasy. I played... The team I played had him. I cried.
I took him, and I was happy
What
with
did he
it.
end up with? 44 fantasy
40,
points?
42, 40, somewhere in there. 42, 44, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Dude, I just that was a make or break situation for me. I had no chance after he did that.
I kind of wish I took Kyler Murray though, because he scored a lot more points than Aaron Rodgers did.
Oh yeah, he had 37 points. He was on the opposite team with me this week too.
Yeah,
it was just game over. They were like 70, 80 points together, and
yeah, those two teams had a shootout.
yeah.
So, well, let's move on to number 4. We both took the Bucks.
Well, that's a first today. Tampa Bay's out here. Gronkowski's getting going. They've got a decent receiving core. They've got Antonio Brown coming in. I don't know how well that's going to go. That's a whole different thing. But I like what I'm seeing. It seems like everything's starting to mesh. Of course, things were kind of slow early on with no preseason. And, you got a lot of new players coming in. But I like what I see. They look dominant. They look aggressive. They're staying in games. They're holding leads. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I had them low last week was I haven't seen anything from their offense.
Yeah.
And the offense showed up to play, and they played a pretty good Raiders team that I ranked number 10 last week.
Yeah.
So
that was kind of a heartbreaker.
And
for me. I wanted to see the Raiders get in there.
Yeah, I really did, but they played them good, and I mean, they had 38-20.
Yeah, and the defense totally shut them out on that game.
I want to see the exact score.
It was 45-20.
45-20. So, I mean, that's 2 weeks in a row they've gotten that 40, or pretty close to that 40 mark in 2 weeks.
And they've got a good offense to complement it.
Yeah, that's
offense, dangerous.
Brady had, I think, 5 touchdowns, 360-something yards.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Pull up the stat line here.
Yeah, I 368, I believe, 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, 369, 4 touchdowns, 33 of 45. Not a lot of rushing yards though.
Yeah,
but I mean,
Brady's clicking.
They're he's clicking. He's meshing well. You got Scotty Miller, you got Chris Godwin, Gronkowski, Mike Evans. You've got possibly Antonio Brown coming in. So long as he's not a problem, and he doesn't come in with a really high ego, I think they're going to be fine. You really got to watch out for Tampa Bay all of a sudden.
And we put a team with 2 losses ahead of these 5-1 teams because they just look better. I mean, they really do. They look like the dominant team in the NFC as of right now.
Yeah, and I mean, they're playing good games against good teams. They lost to the Saints on an opener in New Orleans. That's a tough game. They lost to the Bears by 1 point. The Bears have a really stout defense. 20-19. That's a good game. They beat the Panthers. Panthers are good despite their record.
And then when you get to Green Bay, that's where.
Yeah, when they just blew out Green Bay and then come in and kind of blew out the Raiders, that's when I was like, okay,
this team's for real.
Yeah, they're for real, and they look really good. Another team all good in every phase. So.
Yeah, I was impressed with.
I was worried early on, and I was kind of rooting for the Bucs to have a good season because I was like, this is a cool experiment going on down there, and I like it.
Yeah, as of right now, I was rooting for them early on, and now I'm kind of like, maybe I don't want them to win.
Yeah, the PTSD of Brady's kind of rolling in my head again.
Yeah,
but at least he's in the NFC, so
yeah,
he's somebody else's problem for once.
Yeah.
Moving on to 3.
Exact same again. I think we got the same power rankings now.
I think the Titans would have dropped down a lot lower if Pittsburgh would have held that lead.
Now I was flip-flopped. I'm sure you were too. Putting the Titans 3 or 2 because they are a pretty complete team, with the exception of that defense. That defense.
They need a secondary.
They had 3 turnovers, but Big Ben kind of gave it to them.
Well, you know what? One of those turnovers I don't put on Ben.
Yeah,
that was a tipped ball, and then it kind of tipped off the receiver, shot up in the air, and ends up in the defender's hands.
The one was before halftime, which I mean.
Yeah, the 2 end zone shots. That really was killer.
But that one toward the end of the game was on his fault. He should not have thrown that ball. He should have just took the points, go up by 6.
Yeah.
But
got greedy.
Yeah, I mean,
but Tennessee looked good. It was hard putting them between 2 and 3.
They never gave up.
Yeah, they didn't. That's kind of been the story with them. They kind of get going a little slow. Good team.
Yeah, good team. Kicker's kind of having an off season, but I think he will bounce back. I think it's another because since we're Steelers fans, Boswell incident.
Yeah.
So I think he will bounce back. I think he'll be fine. later in the season or
That's
even
that
next year.
and that comes back to the three phases. So they're kind of losing on special teams there. If they get the special teams doing better, watch out.
Kicking's just all the process, and I don't think it's the process. I think it's his mental. It's
Yeah,
his
well,
mental. He's
it
thinking
seems like
about
with
it.
kickers, once they start having issues, when you go from such a perfect kicker and then you start having a bunch of problems, then you're
thinking.
like, yeah, it's all in your head and you're trying to redeem yourself. You're like, oh man, if I miss this. And he doesn't look very relaxed out there.
Yeah.
And he was mad. I think I remember seeing him throw a helmet at the end of that game. So.
Yeah, so minor things to work on for Tennessee,
but it can get better, and I think you're going to see Pittsburgh and Tennessee.
Tannehill looked sharp.
Yeah, he looked pretty good. I was impressed.
That,
yeah, he played a good game against, a good
against
defense.
The rushing defense that held Derrick Henry to like 80 yards.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
good game.
Moving on, number 2, we both took the Chiefs. This was as expected.
I'm glad you moved them down this week and matched up with me.
I said whoever wins this game between Pittsburgh and Tennessee, we're probably go number 1.
Yeah, you did say that.
So
my problem with Kansas City, they're dominant. They've got an offense that can pull them out of a lot of holes. The only problem is not a complete team. The defense isn't that great. Defensive teams win games.
The only reason I put Kansas City above the Titans is when I look at that defense, I think it's a little bit better than the Titans, slightly better. And also, when I look at it, if the Chiefs and the Titans were to get in a game, I think Patrick Mahomes would have a field day on the Titans. I feel like the Titans would have a tough time against the Chiefs. Yeah. So that's why I put them ahead. I just what would these teams
they're going to
do?
have a hard time against an offense that's putting up the kinds of numbers that they are.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at what Patrick Mahomes did over the weekend. He only had 200 passing yards. He didn't have any passing touchdowns, but they just ran all over Denver. All over them. So, they're a dominant team, so you can't count them out, but at the same time,
I don't
think they've got a complete team.
They did play Denver, so everyone kind of relaxed a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on to number 1, I think everybody expects this. We got Pittsburgh at number 1.
And this is the first time I could say, without a bias, Pittsburgh is number 1. They are the more complete team.
I thought that last week. I really wholeheartedly did without a bias. Back to the 3 phases. Offense, defense, special teams. They've got Jordan Berry back as punter. They got rid of Dustin Colquitt. Berry looked pretty good in the last game. And, we watched that game together. And
even though he only had, 1 punt.
The only problem I'm seeing with Pittsburgh is they're kind of letting some teams back in the games.
Yeah.
But that was a tough Tennessee offense. And that was... I expected it to be a close game anyways. When they let go of that lead, it kind of worried me a little bit, though.
Yeah, but the way they started off the game, that worried me, how they're letting these teams back in. I mean, this isn't the first time they've done that.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been happening all season, but they still find ways to win the game in the end, but that is worrying, because the way they started, it looked like Tennessee was about to get rolled.
Yeah, it really did. But, they won the game. They're hanging in their games. Even if they're letting them get close, they're still winning. I'm really impressed with what they did with Derrick Henry.
Yeah. I
think his biggest run in that game was 17 yards. That dude's used to making big splash plays. He's a big, aggressive runner. I think it was a holding call on that goal line before he scored that touchdown. If it wasn't for that holding call, they stopped him on the goal line.
Yeah, and that would have been game over.
That would have been game. They got 4 more chances, and then they're like, oh, hey, this dude's a beast. Just have him jump over everyone. Yeah. So there you go. So, but yeah, they held Derrick Henry pretty well, so I like that. They look aggressive. This week's going to be the big test with Baltimore. We'll get into predictions in a little bit, but that's going to be another big determining factor for them. And then after that, it looks like it's going to be pretty smooth sailing.
Yeah,
you got the Jags, you got Dallas, and a variety of things. So,
I'll tell you what, Bob Spillane.
Oh, jeez.
Rob Spillane. I just call him Bob. Bob Spillane. I might buy a jersey. Because I am a fan, because that goal line stop, he put a hit on Derrick Henry.
And you heard it.
That was a wild hit.
Yeah.
I mean, he came out a couple plays because of his shoulder, but he came back in the game. I mean, that was a
monstrous hit. I don't think they're worried about missing Devin Bush now. I think now we've got another player in the arsenal that's just going to dominate.
And, I mean, the thing about him, he came from Tennessee, so he had kind of a little chip there.
Yeah.
Kind of a little bone to pick with Tennessee.
A little chip on his shoulder, but Yeah, he's making plays. I like him. He's aggressive.
Yeah,
He's
it's hard.
Spillaining all over the place.
He's spelanking.
Spillaining.
Okay, well, next on the agenda here.
We'll do a recap of the rankings real quick.
This is your power
These
rankings.
are mine. So, Pittsburgh 1, Kansas City 2, Titans at 3, Buccaneers at 4, Arizona 5, Seattle 6, Baltimore 7, Green Bay 8, the Rams at 9, and the Bears at 10. I'll let you go ahead and read yours.
Okay, well, my power rankings go Steelers at 1, Kansas City at 2, Titans at 3, Buccaneers at 4, Green Bay at 5, Ravens at 6, Cardinals at 7, Seattle at 8, San Fran, the 49ers at 9, and the Saints at 10.
All right. You'll want to stay tuned for next week's update on that. We need to get some socials going. We can start posting that and letting people, get a picture to look at.
Yeah.
But those are our power rankings for going into Week 8. It'll be interesting to see how some of these games play out this week.
Noticed how I said San Fran and 49ers? Because that's my sleeper team. Remember that.
The sleeper.
Remember that when they start winning some games.
I never doubted them, but okay, we'll see what they do.
It's my sleeper team.
Your sleeper team of the year. Hey, my sleeper team was Arizona, and they're proving a point. So
yeah.
We got some injury updates to go through this week. Some pretty brutal injuries for some of them. Did you see that hit on Andy Dalton?
That hit was uncalled for, and Bostic should have some...
He should have been suspended, and they're not suspending
he should have
him.
fines or something.
I think he got fined, but he's not getting suspended.
John Bostic, he come from Pittsburgh, didn't he? John
did he?
Bostic.
I don't know if he did or
Yeah,
not.
I'm pretty sure he came from Pittsburgh. I thought he was a backup linebacker. Which, it makes sense, being that he's on the Washington football team starting, if he was a backup in Pittsburgh.
Let me see where he ended up at. He was drafted by the Bears.
I was pretty sure I remember seeing that name.
He was with the Steelers in 2018 as a backup.
Yeah,
Yep.
so, yeah, he was with the Steelers.
Yeah, so, that was just uncalled for. Even the coach kind of wasn't approving of that.
Yeah.
I hope Andy Dalton's okay. It seems like he's going to be. He did get to go home with the team, didn't have to stay in the hospital.
And now
It's a pretty aggressive hit. Helmet comes flying off. Looked like he kind of got knocked out there for
did he just have a concussion? Is that what he has?
Yeah, he has a concussion.
So, he should be back here soon, shouldn't he?
Yeah, I haven't seen the updates on that yet. I don't even think they've officially ruled him out for this week's game, but as big of a hit as that was, I wouldn't be surprised if he's ruled
takes
out
another
this week.
week off.
Yeah, you're already dealing with a backup. You're already having a losing season. I don't see a reason to put him in.
I am rooting really hard for Andy Dalton. Wasn't the biggest fan of him in Cincinnati, but him in Cowboys, I will root for Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
I think he's a good quarterback.
Yeah, he's a solid quarterback. He ended up in a bad situation in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
You'll have that. But another thing I kind of want to touch on that, if you look at any other team, let's say that was just because I have such a familiarity with the Steelers. If that was Ben Roethlisberger, Pouncey would have ripped him apart.
Oh, yeah.
No question. He would not care about the fines or anything.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. And the Cowboys, they just kind of, oh, hey, buddy, are you okay? And that just speaks to the culture that's going on over there right now under Mike McCarthy.
No retaliation. Stand up for your quarterback.
Yeah, stand up for your quarterback. That's your man right there, and, your job's to protect him. Okay, you gave up a hit. That's not necessarily 100% your fault, but then you're just going to let him lay on the ground? You're not going to go after the dude that just did that? I don't think so. I think something needs to be done in Dallas. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just they need a new owner because the culture's bad.
I guarantee you, if that happened to Dak, that exact hit, they'd have to stand up for Dak.
Yeah.
I think it's
Do
just
they not
because
trust Andy Dalton?
I think it's just because Andy Dalton's a backup.
Well, that's not good.
And they don't respect. It's still not good. It's not good.
No, you don't do that. He's still your quarterback.
He's still a veteran quarterback.
Dallas is starting to look really dysfunctional, and this stuff's going to keep happening for the rest of the season. And I don't look for anything much better next year either. There's some big changes that have to be done.
Yeah.
But back on the injury report, Devontae Freeman got hurt this week. He went down in the third quarter with an ankle injury. He was kind of practicing today, so they look for him maybe to be back. But if not, they've got a backup prepared and ready to go for New York. And another big injury this week, Odell Beckham Jr. tore his ACL.
He's done for the season.
Yep. He will be out for the remainder of the season. Did Baker almost play better without him?
He did. 0 for 5, and then Odell got hurt. 0 for 5 with an interception, then Odell got hurt, and then a lot of people are saying Baker played better without him. So I'm not sure.
Is that a factor of OBJ? I don't think so.
I think it's just a factor of Bengals defense being that weak.
Yeah. I think it was coincidental. I hope he gets better. You know, that's a terrible injury, you know, to have your season end like that. But he will be out for the remainder of the season.
And I'm just saying, it wouldn't be surprising if this is his last year as a Brown. Would not be surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. We'll see. I think he was starting to one out anyways, but now is kind of his value is down now, you know, with the ACL injury. So he might not come back the same. It's hard to tell. And he's kind of starting to get a little older, so you got to start to wonder about things like that. But hopefully he comes back strong. I'd like to see him stay with the Browns.
Yeah, I would too,
but I'd also like to see them get rid of Baker Mayfield, like we talked about last week. So.
Yeah, and that's coming from Pittsburgh fans.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But
I'm almost like a Browns fan sometimes. I've been rooting for them to like play a serious game for a long time. I want them to be good, but
I mean, I don't mind the Browns, but some of the fans are a little cocky after a few wins. Yeah. Just saying.
Yeah. Yep. And they're full of excuses, but maybe that's just a Steelers fan's perspective. Who knows?
Yeah.
Moving on. Let's talk about some Week 8 predictions.
Wait, go back just a second. I want to talk about something right now.
What's that?
The Baltimore Ravens just signed Dez Bryant to the practice squad.
Yeah.
This is just incoming news.
He did try out with them and stuff in the offseason.
Yeah.
Does he really impact him that much at that age?
I really don't know.
To a quarterback that can't throw the ball down the field?
Well, here's the thing. Is it worth the risk of your locker room becoming like a bad environment? Yeah. Is it worth the risk? Because we know he's a bit of a distraction in the room.
Another one of those diva wide receivers.
Diva wide receiver. Maybe he's changed. I don't know. I guess time will tell. I guess they're putting him on the practice squad to see what he has still.
I mean, it's just the practice squad. I don't think it's anything to be concerned about just yet. I know it made a lot of headlines, but it's just the practice squad. If they sign him to the actual team, you know, that's a whole different thing. But I'm not overwhelmingly worried about that at the moment, I guess.
I'm not either, but I just thought I had to bring it up. So.
Yeah, I mean, that is some big news. And I kind of mentioned it earlier, Antonio Brown to the Buccaneers. What is that about?
Yeah, and
Tampa Brady already taking over down there.
I feel like Brown's actually going to be on track if he does get in the NFL. Yeah. Which I think they are going to let him. It depends how the case goes, I guess.
Well, he can come back week 9, but then he also has a civil suit still going. Depending on how that turns out, they could suspend him again or, you know, whatever they want to do. He's kind of at Goodell's mercy at that point.
Again, I'm kind of thinking he's not going to have a huge impact. I mean, you got young guy, you got Mike Evans, and you got this young receiver, Scotty Miller. Yeah. So I don't think he's gonna be at a huge impact to Tampa Bay.
So Scotty Miller, I'm kind of taking a risk right now. We've talked about my fantasy team being a wreck, but Scotty Miller was dropped over the weekend, so I'm in the waiver wire trying to get him, see what he can do for my team. I really need a running back, but they're gone. They're all gone. And my best running back's on a bye week this week, so I've got James White and Devontae Freeman. So I've got nothing going on there. But what was surprising was my fantasy league, they picked up Antonio Brown, and I think the same guy picked up Dez Bryant before they were ever signed.
Yeah, they weren't even signed, yeah.
I'm like, the Antonio Brown thing I kind of saw coming, but Dez Bryant was a little bit of a reach.
Both receivers are kind of getting up there in age, so especially, I mean, AB's going to be starting, but he's definitely getting up there in age now. I'm just wondering if he still has the speed. Yeah. So, I guess only time will tell. I'm sure Brady will find a use for him.
Yeah, but I just question, is he going to ruin that locker room? Do they really need to have him?
They don't need him, but I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be fine because he's got Brady.
Yeah, I hope. Well, I don't really hope, actually. Do I really want them to
No,
walk
actually,
all
as a
over
Pittsburgh
everyone?
fan, we hate Antonio Brown. So,
Yeah.
but
Not Le'Veon Bell, though. I'm making that clear. I don't hate Le'Veon Bell.
I do.
You do? Okay. Although, he didn't do much this week. Not at all.
Yeah, so... Well, that's a little bit of news we got, so we can go on to the picks we have.
Do some quick picks this week. Let's see what we've got going on. So first off, we've got the Thursday night game this week. We've got the Falcons at the Panthers. I'm going to take the Panthers. I don't even think it's going to be close.
I'm also taking the Panthers because I am in agreement with you. Falcons, man.
Yeah.
Todd Gurley scored a touchdown and it lost them the game to the Lions.
Yeah. All they had to do was chew up a minute of clock time.
That's pretty bad when you accidentally score a touchdown and that caused you the game.
That's in your coaching staff. They should have made sure that was...
Well, he looked like he knew what he was doing, but he tried to fall and he just...
Yeah, fell too far the
he
other
has
way.
too much momentum.
Yeah. That's just a bummer for them, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they'll turn their season around a little bit, but they're definitely not making the playoffs.
I thought they were, though. I thought for a second there the Falcons were going to come back a little bit, but...
I think it's going to take some off-season time to get that team turned around.
Yeah, that team, yeah.
But, so I'll take Teddy Bridgewater and the Panthers this week.
I will take that as well. So next game. This is probably the game of the week. Steelers and Ravens. Steelers at Ravens.
Steelers are going to drop their first game.
And that's a pick coming from a Steeler fan. You
Yeah.
saying you dropped their first game?
They're going to drop their first game, and I'm going to tell you why. They've played some pretty run-heavy offenses lately in Cleveland and Tennessee. So I think the defense is going to start to kind of get wore out. You had the really early bye week. They're on the road for the second week in a row. So there's that factor. They're in Baltimore. So with a rivalry game, and playing in Baltimore, that's a big deal. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think that they're going to lose their first game this week. And I don't think that's a huge issue moving forward. I think what you have to look for with Pittsburgh is how well they play Baltimore, not necessarily was it a win or was it a loss.
Yeah, I can totally understand, and I kind of have a little bit of that feel too, but I feel like Pittsburgh will win this game. Now, my concern is, I feel like, they got to drop some game, unless they're going to become the Patriots, which we know how that ended up.
Yeah.
But I feel like the games that going to be Pittsburgh might have a fit, might have a little... blunder of a game. It's gonna be against the Bills or Colts. I just have a feeling one of those teams they're gonna have an off game.
Have an off day.
Yeah. So I am taking the Steelers this week because I think they still have something to prove.
Yeah.
And this is a division game, so it's gonna be a close one.
Yeah, it's gonna be a close one. But yeah, I think I'm gonna take Baltimore. We'll see how that goes. Obviously, I don't want Baltimore to win, but I think Baltimore wins it. So we'll move on. Who you got for the Rams at the Dolphins? Keep in mind, Tua's starting this week. What's the Tua factor? We don't know.
Oh, but you got Donald on the other side. I
think you almost have to take the Rams.
Yeah, you gotta take the Rams.
I don't think it's gonna be an easy game for them.
I don't either. The Dolphins
but
are playing well.
I think you almost have to take the Rams.
The Rams they got a decent defense. They got a decent offense. Nothing special, but
yeah,
they're definitely a good team. Yeah. So, we're taking Rams.
Move on to the Jets, the Chiefs. Unless the Chiefs have one of those off days like Buffalo had, I don't know. I guess it's going to have to be the Chiefs.
Well, even if they have an off day and only kick field goals like the Bills did, I still think they'll put up 30 points.
Yeah.
So
it has to be the Chiefs.
Yeah, obvious Chiefs.
Blowout win.
Blowout, yeah.
Yeah. We got a divisional game. Vikings at Packers. What do you got going on there?
I'm taking the Packers. The Vikings are a mess right now.
They are a mess. But could this be their comeback game for the season? Probably not. I'm going to give it to Green Bay.
Okay.
I would like to see them do something, but it's not going to happen.
I thought you were going there because first you had Green Bay low, and I thought you were going there, and you did it. You faked me out. I was really intrigued.
A little trickery going on there. No, it has to be the Packers. But that's another one of those games I think that Minnesota might play a decent game.
Yeah, like they did against against Seattle, they played a decent game. They should have won that one.
Yeah, so, we'll give it to the Packers, but I think it'll be a good game to watch at least if you get that in your area.
Yeah.
Colts at Lions.
Where are you going with here? I want you to go first here.
Oh, man. Well, on one side, you got Phillip Rivers and a good defense. On the other side, you've got Matt Stafford, but you also have Matt Patricia.
You got Matt Stafford. Who else you got? You got Matt Stafford.
Matt Patricia is not doing so well in Detroit. But Matt Stafford's a beast. I'm gonna give it to Matt Stafford and the Lions this week. Close game. You know what? I always have to pick a game. I want to always have a game that's controversial.
I was thinking that in my head.
Yeah.
They're at Detroit. I'm going with the Lions as well.
Yeah, let's go. I'm gonna give it to the Lions, and I'm gonna say it comes down to a field goal.
I wanted you to pick the Colts, but I mean, because I wanted to pick the Lions there.
The Colts are probably the logical pick, but yeah. I think I'm gonna mix it up and take the Lions.
Okay, no bias here. We got the Raiders at the Browns.
Got the Raiders in Cleveland with Derek Carr.
No Pittsburgh biases here.
After what they did the other night, that's a tough one. What do you think? I don't know.
I am going...
Because the bias in me is screaming the dysfunction in Cleveland, but I don't even know that that's necessarily bias so much as truth.
I'm going with the Raiders.
Are you going to take the Raiders?
I'm taking the Raiders. Is it bias? Maybe. Do I care? No.
Do I care?
I'm taking the Raiders. They got destroyed by Tampa Bay, and I feel like they're going to have a good game. I mean, they still put up 20 against a good Tampa defense.
Well, you got Derek Carr coming in. You know what? I think I will take the Raiders, too, because I think, they don't want that last game to define them, so they're looking to bounce back. It's a pretty even matchup across the board. So, I'll take the Raiders, too. I think I'll match you on that.
Okay.
And the Titans at the Bengals.
Titans. Don't even have to explain. Joe Burrow's the best thing that ever happened to Cincinnati, but they're not going to win this game.
Bengals don't have Titans don't have a secondary.
Bengals don't have a defense.
Yeah.
Or a team.
But they have a Joe Burrow.
But they got a Joe Burrow.
And a T. Higgins.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are you going to go with Cincinnati here? Or are you just joking?
I'm actually, considering it.
Ooh.
They're not very effective against the pass, and they have one of the best passing quarterbacks in the NFL in Cincinnati.
Derrick Henry a little sore from Spolanking him.
No, yeah. You could have that, too. Okay. I'm going to give the edge to the Titans. High-scoring game on both sides of the ball.
Oh, okay. I like that. I like that.
High score out of Cincinnati.
I think that's accurate.
And probably another heartbreak loss because Cincinnati's been trying to hang in there and doing what they can.
Yeah. All right. We got the Patriots and Bills.
Bills are losing momentum.
Okay.
But so are the Patriots. But Bill Belichick knows how to coach against the Bills. And they're looking for a bounce-back win. I'm going to give it to the Patriots this week.
Bills Mafia. You disappoint me so much. But I'm giving this to you. I'm taking the Bills.
You're going to take the Bills?
I'm taking the Bills. Because I think the Patriots are even deader than the Bills. Deader. And that's the word I'm using. Because I can. Okay? Deal with it.
Just deal with it.
Okay.
All right. Well, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. We're going to have to tune into that one a little bit.
Had to pick an opposite, Lara.
Chargers at the Broncos.
I am going with the Chargers.
Yeah.
Better defense.
The Chargers have lost, 4 games this year, but a lot of those games were really, really close. Justin Herbert's playing his butt off. I like the Chargers in this one, too. I think, not to take too much away from Denver, but I think that they're going to start to pick up some momentum for themselves.
Yeah.
We got San Fran and Seattle. That's a big one for you.
You already know who I'm going with. 49ers. Defense is playing great.
Yeah.
Well, against a
It could
dead
be-
team.
Yeah.
But they did win against the Rams, so I'm taking the 49ers.
Take the 49ers. Well, I'm going to look at Seattle and say Seattle's defense is not that great. We saw that the other night. I think I'll take San Francisco as well.
Ooh.
I think you're going to see Seattle.
I
drop
did not
another one.
expect that.
No,
I
you know
expect
what?
the Seattle from you.
San Francisco's hurt, but they've proven that they can weather the storm. They're getting hot. Divisional game. I like San Francisco. Seattle just doesn't have defense. They just don't.
All right. This next week,
Saints and Bears.
Saints and Bears. Yep.
The Bears are going to give Drew Brees a fit.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, their defense is going to give him a fit. The determining factor is going to be how well Nick Foles plays this week. Saints are a good team. I'm taking the Bears, though.
Taking the Bears. Okay.
Taking the Bears.
I respect it. Yep. Well, I am going to oppose that and take the Saints. I feel like Drew Brees has been around the league enough to know, get the ball out of your hands, stupid. Don't hold the ball against this Bears defense. Get the ball out of your hands early, get a couple good runs, and, just work that defense down. And then in the fourth quarter, you can start holding it on, making some big plays. In the second half when you wear that defense down.
Yeah, wear them out. Okay. Yeah, so I can see that. Taking the Bears, you're taking the Saints. Now we've got the Cowboys and the Eagles. I don't even know who to pick. What do you even do in that situation?
I just want to delete this whole NFC East. The Eagles are leading with a 2-4-1 record. A 2-4-1 record. And they are the head.
One of these four teams gets a playoff game.
They're taking away from one of these good teams.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Who's to say 49ers or the Rams,
and
just get snubbed out.
They're going to get blown out in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know they're going to get blown out in the playoffs.
It's a joke of division. I'm taking Eagles because I'm not sure about Andy Dalton if he's going to play. If he doesn't
ripped the Cowboys. They lost to Washington. I have to take the Eagles.
Yeah,
They just got picked apart by Washington.
Yeah,
sorry. Andy Dalton, even if he plays.
Fun fact, the Eagles also got beat by Washington.
That's true too, but not like that.
Yeah, not like that. That was pretty convincing.
I'm sure that the Cowboys fans are screaming, but we don't have Dak Prescott. Well, sorry about your luck. It's not his fault anyways.
Yeah,
he was the only reason. He was throwing for over 500 yards a game, and you were still losing, so I don't want to hear it.
He was the only reason he kept it close. They kept it close.
A Monday night football game, you've got the Bucks and the Giants. Some of these primetime games are really starting to annoy me.
It's all NFC East. They're always primetime. Look, they're at 8:20. They're on Monday.
Yeah, they got a Monday night
NFC
game
East.
and a Sunday night game.
And what they have this week? They had a game, primetime.
Who did? Who would have been?
I'm pretty sure. Did they have? No, maybe not. No, it was.
I don't think they did. No, because you had the Cardinals game.
No, they didn't.
Sunday night.
They didn't this week, but they're on almost every week on prime time, and it's just why put this? Why put this division?
Well, I think I know
time?
why they did it in the start because it wasn't expected to see those teams play that bad this year.
It was expected though. You could see it coming. The team sucked last year.
Yeah, but you didn't expect it to be that bad.
You didn't expect it to be worse than last year. But
Dallas is America's team.
America's team, quotation marks.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking we ship them off to Saudi Arabia or somewhere and make them somebody else's team because they're not my team. That's for damn sure.
Moving down to Mexico.
Moving down to Mexico.
But yeah, this game, obviously Buccaneers. We didn't have to say the Buccaneers. We all knew that.
Yeah, it's going to be the Buccaneers. It's going to be a blowout. Tom Brady's going to have fun.
Yeah.
He's going up against a practice squad.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so, well, you got anything else on the agenda for today?
No. Unless you got anything.
Nope, I think I'm good.
I think we covered it.
Yeah.
So, I just wanted to say, if you're watching the video of this, go check out Spotify, go check out Apple. If you're listening, go subscribe to our YouTube.
Yep. We're going to get some socials put up, hopefully, in the coming weeks. Just some Twitter, maybe, or some Facebook, where we can kind of upload some of these predictions and things, and maybe some clips in the future. But like, comment, subscribe, and share this with all your friends that love football. We love football, too. That's why we're here. And thanks for watching this week.